Green Hill Zone 1998. That's the last place we saw him before the disappearance. He wasn't acting like himself, though. Rumored ramblings of immense debt he was spiding after a field console launch, and after that, poof, like he never even existed. That was until 13 years later, where he miraculously returned around the date of his birthday.
We were so thrilled to see him again that we hadn't even noticed how much he changed. Since then, he hasn't left us again, showing up even when uninvited. I can't put my finger on it, but there was just something different about him. He wasn't himself. Like, whatever happened to him, it's just like the soul had been sucked out of him. I really just... I'm sorry, I can't...
Hearing all this got me invested. Just what was this thing? Could it really be the Sonic we knew and loved from all those years ago? Or could it be... Santiago? If you've been taking a peek around the Sonic fandom in the past few months, then you've probably seen this image pop up fairly frequently. A meme starring some artwork of classic Sonic from the Saturn era, paired against a classic Sonic render from Sonic Forces, with the latter being instead called Santiago to try and make a joke about this Sonic being some sort of imposter to the real Sonic. And what started as a simple meme poking fun at the subtle design differences between the two iterations of the character, is now at the forefront of the current discussions regarding not only Sonic designs, but also the way people believe that the fanbase are blowing nonsense out of proportion for the sake of arguing. How could such a basic and obvious joke lead to all this? I mean, under Santiago's bio it literally says, "can only speak Scandinavian, accused of several accounts of homicide, and my personal favorite, he hates you." Well, today I'm gonna explain all this, discuss why people like the Santiago meme, why a lot of folks don't, and even talk to the creator of the meme to see what they think of all this hoopla. I wasn't expecting it going in, but there's surprisingly a lot of stuff to talk about regarding this light blue rat. Even a story about how he literally saved someone's life. So without further ado, let's get into it. Santiago first popped up around May 19th of 2021 by a Twitter user known as Snick, where it received a fairly large amount of likes which helped spread it around. But his story actually begins before then, as Snick was not the sole person responsible for the image. That person would be Jin. I would show you their profile, but it has been deleted at some point in me writing this video. Luckily, I was able to reach out to the guy for an interview though before his deletion, where he says, "I based it off a similar meme that someone did with Yoshi. I found it to be a funny way to shit on the newer portrayal of classic Sonic. I don't know, something about turning new Sonic into this homicidal maniac who speaks a language that doesn't even exist was really funny to me at the time. The original post was on my old account, and I only got like 300 or so likes. That was until Snick asked for the original image. I deactivated my old account at this time and it was basically lost media, so he made a refined version along with the hashtag #StopSantiago, and everything blew up from there. And blow up it did. With the meme being shared all around the Sonic community for months, people would try to expand the fake lore for Santiago. A lot of people would do their own take on it, as a way to discuss their distaste for certain iterations of other characters. But the most important part is that it was being shared around at a rapid rate. Everybody in the community was talking about Santiago, to the point where even the officially licensed Roblox game recently made a reference to him. But as the meme kept being posted over and over again, at every corner of the community, the natural thing started to happen where it got so much exposure that the joke began to get too old for many people, with a lot simply being sick of seeing it everywhere. But a bunch of others claiming that the issues with the classic Sonic design they're poking fun at are so minuscule to the point where they're not even worth mentioning. Is that true? You know, despite it being obviously very jokey in nature, by the creator's admission, there is a point trying to be made here about the way classic Sonic is currently being portrayed compared to his older Saturn self. So let's look at what the Santiago meme is trying to say about these two designs, and if there's even any merit to the very thing's existence. As we all know, the current design for classic Sonic in 3D was created back in 2011 for Sonic Generations, being the first time he's officially seen in a mainline Sonic product in a long time. So obviously certain things were going to be changed. I mean, what Sonic models did they really have to go off? This guy? Ugh. Something worth noting, though, is that originally Generations was going to lean way more into the American design for classic Sonic, mostly known for all the artwork done by Greg Martin, with the 3DS release actually keeping in some remnants of this model, showing us the goalpost featuring a look much more in line with that, you know, very pronounced eyebrows, more droopy ears, and even the mohawk. I'm glad they ended up tweaking it, as I believe the version we ended up with does a much better job at balancing the look of the Japanese and American Sonic. On the box art for Generations, we see them give him slightly more droopy ears and an eye ridge like American Sonic, but with the spikes more commonly associated with the Japanese version. Despite me not really liking that they made the shoes look all hard and shiny compared to the much more comfy looking originals, I feel like they struck something good here. Here being the operative word. Generations didn't have much of a story, so there are things you don't really notice as much when it came to the model, which can be much greater seen in Sonic Forces, mostly being when the characters are all lined up against each other. This classic Sonic appears way more cutesy. It was sort of charming in Generations having him look up to Sonic and try to imitate the air boost, but at the same time, that's not Sonic. Sonic's defining trait is his coolness, not the cute factor, and any attempts they take to try and present him as serious in these games is completely nullified through the fact that his design looks like it belongs in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, not the end of the world. Compared to the classic Sonic that was starting to become the norm in the Saturn era, they had taken the style previously seen on the Japanese box art and only pushed it further. Everything about this design screams attitude and exemplifies his coolness to its peak. And it's not like this design couldn't have worked in a 3D space considering they were doing just that for games such as Sonic R, Sonic Jam, and hell, was even the original look for the Adventure Sonic before they went with the modern design. And now we have the most divisive topic of all, Sonic Shade of Blue. It's no surprise when I said both of these Sonics are entirely different shades of blue, with Saturn Sonic obviously being way more dark compared to the lighter classic Sonic. I think this was mostly changed to make classic Sonic stand out against modern, and evidently not many people cared or noticed at the time. Hell, you even had merchandise miscoloring him with that darker shade. Realistically, does it matter? Nah, not really. Again, it's a discussion about which color of blue works best on Sonic, it's not that serious. But at the same time, that doesn't negate the fact that people are allowed to have a preference over these things and discuss why they think so. If Sonic fans were only allowed to talk about the most important aspects of this franchise, then a majority of my channel wouldn't even exist. So are these designs the same? Pretty much, yeah. But they're completely different iterations of the same design, and those minute details are everything. Look at a character like SpongeBob and you'll see legions of people arguing about way more minute things like if his cheek should be facing up or sideways. But people only discuss it because those smaller details can add up to create a character that has an entirely different feel to the last. And the people trying to dismiss this by claiming they're the same and moving on are only serving to shut down any sort of discussion because this is a specific scenario in which your argument lies on you not thinking one is as good as the other. And the fandom is at a point now where they've been beaten and bruised so much that if everything in Sonic isn't praised as God's gift to Mobius, then it destroys their whole worldview. I think for me, personally, the worst thing that the Santiago meme has done is cause Sonic fans to go on super defensive mode anytime the slightest bit of criticism is made towards the franchise, or certain aspects of it they aren't a fan of. I recall seeing a post from this fan the other month simply pointing out how the Eggman logo used in Sonic Origins cutscenes was the modern version, which doesn't really make sense, as not only is this a point in time where that logo didn't exist, but also that there's a perfectly fine classic Eggman logo they could have used. I, along with I'm sure many people, looked at this and went, huh, that's an interesting fuck up. But to others, it was like their baby had just been killed. They immediately jumped in to dogpile this person simply for pointing out an inconsequential error.
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
As if because it didn't affect anything major, it wasn't even worth saying. It's sad that this is the point we're currently at with this franchise. It's not everyone, but I see so many people act like there should be no, even slightly negative discussion around this series. Because Sonic fans deserve a break. And ironically enough, the response to the negativity is to be extremely negative themselves. I experienced this firsthand recently, and it was baffling to watch unfold. At risk of dating the video, the story trailer came out recently for the upcoming Sonic Frontiers, in which me, and by me I mean my friend, tweeted out joking that the story trailer really showed us nothing about the story. And the response to this was a flurry of people scoffing at the fact that I expected a story trailer to show the story, claiming that just because I wanted that, it really meant that I wanted the entire thing spoiled. Bit of a reach, right? It's this hyper-defensive mentality that only hurts the fanbase more because it shuts down any kind of meaningful discussion. And when looked at from an outside perspective, it's really just sad. Makes Sonic fans look like little babies who can't handle negativity. But if all this doesn't convince you of the importance of stuff like Santiago, then let me tell you a tale. A tale of how this wonderful meme literally saved someone's life. I'm not joking. So remember the creator of Santiago, Jin? A few months ago they got in a car crash as a result of a drunk driver merging into their lane and colliding with them, with the last thing he remembered being hitting his head off the steering wheel. After this he had gone into a coma for 2 to 3 days, and when they awakened they didn't remember a thing. What happened, who their family was, even who they were themselves. For around 2 days their family was desperately trying to jog their memory, trying anything to make them remember who they were. Playing music, showing pictures, telling stories, nothing worked. Nothing except for him. When they saw their 4-year-old brother playing with a classic Sonic action figure, he noticed that his brother referred to him as Santiago, in which everything came rushing back, remembering who they were and what had happened to them, dropping to the floor in tears as the memory of creating the meme came back to them. Santiago saved a life that day. I think that's pretty important to remember. Again, they deleted their Twitter, I hope they're alright. In regards to the current state of the meme, they told me that they feel people get way too angry over it. Not understanding that a large part to what made it so funny was demonizing a character so much just because they had a shitty design. With them feeling most people misinterpret it as new thing bad, old thing good, while missing the absurdist part. Despite all the people claiming that Santiago has ruined character design discussion, they're glad it exists. And I am too. Mostly for showing me how insane people can get when trying to shut down fan discussion. Especially because the thought of people saying this meme and getting genuinely enraged at it is really funny to me. I think, despite being an imposter, we've got a lot to be thankful for and appreciate about Santiago. And I think a lot of you guys owe him an apology. So in conclusion, Classic Sonic is not a real person and he will not see people being mean towards him on twitter.com and get upset. If seeing somebody make fun of the new Classic Sonic design makes you genuinely mad, then you need to get your head checked.